To Let's Talk About Health. I'm your host, I'm Mrs. Winnie Ohinikisi, and it's always a pleasure to join you on this favorite show of mine. I hope you are tuned in. If you haven't tuned in and invited your friends, please do, because tonight's session promises to be a very breathtaking one. On tonight's show, I have an awesome guest. You all know, if you've been following this show, that I always like a patient's account. So please get seated. Before we start the show, let's take an advert and we'll be right back.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be there for them.
Welcome back. And about a month ago, we had this special edition of Let's Talk About Health on COVID with Dr. Robert Khan, where we did the program in fancy tree. It was just a mix and match, and I thoroughly enjoyed that program. So now we are getting started, and we will keep all the programs going now that COVID is under control. So I hope you share with your friends and family. My guest tonight is so special, and I want her to introduce herself, and then we will get started.
Hello viewers, my name is Nana Asante, and also aka Miracle Girl 2017. And I'm pleased to be with
you are pleased
Winnie
to be with me
in the studio today
yeah.
to share the super story.
Yeah, it's an absolutely super story, Nana. Nana Joy, that's what I call you, isn't it? Yeah. I am so pleased you are here. You are actually one of the few people who contacted me to want to feature on a show like this to tell your story. Yeah. And as the viewers watch, they will come to realize that what an amazing story you have to tell. You call yourself Miracle Girl, yeah? 2017, right?
Yes.
So I guess that's what time you had this encounter. Yes. Now let's begin. Tell us about your story. How did it all start?
Well, on the April 2017, the 16th, it was an Easter Sunday. I went to church as normal, and I'm the type I like to have party with friends and family. Is part of me. So I did that gathering, and I believe most of the people left around the evening hours, and the last person left about 10. And as soon as they went, all I felt was my belly, excruciating pain, very, very, very painful. Like you can relate it to labor pain, excruciating right to my right lower abdomen. So I went up and I wasn't sure. So the first thing I did was just to check on anybody that was in the house to find out if it's from the food we ate that day. But unfortunately, everybody said they were fine. So at that point, I saw something was terribly wrong. I started calling out for help. So it was late time in the night. There was not much I could do. So the following day, I tried, but unfortunately, as you know, England, there was no appointment. So I tried the second day, I got appointment. I was seen, and then I was given medication. But on the 24th is when I was admitted in the hospital.
Right.
And that's when the story began.
So prior to the 16th of April, you had no underlying medical conditions whatsoever?
No, I was a very healthy enthusiastic, astute, crazy girl going about my normal life as everyone, and suddenly this excruciating just happened.
So on the 24th of April, which is actually my birthday, unfortunately,
yeah, you
were in hospital.
Yes.
What
That's
happened?
when I was taken by the ambulance, because at that time, although I had seen the GP, I've been given medication, it wasn't going. And at that time, my skin has changed color, and I could see my eyes like popping out, kind of popping out. And all I felt was, I'm dying. So that was the message I said on the phone, that I need help because I feel like I'm dying.
Right.
Yeah.
At the GPs, obviously prior to going into hospital, what exactly did they tell you was wrong?
Well, there's a bit of controversy with that, because in the GP, I was given something to treat pain as normal. Apparently, I was told in the presence of one of my friends that I've got PMS. So I asked the lady what PMS is, and she said post-menstrual syndrome. But that one, I took it by faith, and I was given medication. That was what I was, to my best of knowledge, I was told then. And I came home. So I didn't take it seriously that it was something that was going to change my life completely.
Right. And then you end up in hospital.
Yes.
What happened at the hospital?
As soon as the ambulance took me there, they triaged me as normal as at A&E. Unfortunately, my obs were not showing any sign
Your
of...
observations were not showing anything.
Yeah, so they just said, go to Medoc, and then I went. And within, luckily...
What's Medoc?
That's out of hours doctors.
Okay.
So they sent me there, and I was screaming and wailing like in the corridor. But luckily, within some few minutes, a doctor called me, and that's when he pressed on my stomach, and then I flinched and screamed, and he said, this is not good. I need a porter here right now to take you for CT scan. So straight away after the CT scan, all I saw was I've been rushed to, all I heard was, she's going to ICU. And then all I had on me was my phone. So I had to press at Medway Hospital to every contact on my phone. And then all I saw was this bright lights with all machines coming towards me, and the nurses were saying, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. So at that time I was alert, but I didn't know what actually was going on, because from one thing to the other, that you're going to intensive care. Intensive care means critical. So
you were critically ill.
So that's it. And then from there, I was told I'll be having an operation for appendix.
Right.
And it was told it's appendicectomy. And I was told on that day I was on the list for 24th, but unfortunately I don't know what the reasons were, but due to some reasons they couldn't take me on that day. I think they were monitoring so many things. I was severely dehydrated. So many things was going on with me.
Had you had any treatment up until that stage at all?
The only treatment I had was from the GP. That was the painkillers I was given, and then I was vomiting, so they give me anti-sickness medication.
So in the hospital you had not had any treatment at all?
No, all I had was they were taking bloods, and all the machines were being put on me, and then they were telling me, oh, they will come for you around this time, and they keep changing the time till we were told finally I couldn't go.
So eventually you did get told that you had sepsis?
Yeah.
At what stage during your admission did you have this diagnosis?
Apparently, I didn't know even about the septic shock until I had been discharged home. Even when I was discharged, I was not given the discharge summary because it was a weekend, so the team that looked after me were not about. And another reason was I was taken to a different hospital for plastic surgery. So when they sent me back to the hospital, it was a weekend, and I guess they needed their bed.
Right.
So
I mean, saying this, it comes across as if we are talking of days of admission or hours of admission or weeks of admission. How long, so far as you remember, did you take from the day you were actually sent to theatre till this discharge date you are talking about?
I spent 55 good days in intensive care or fighting for my life.
Wow.
And then the 65th day, I was stepped down to HDU. And then the 72 day, I was stepped down to recovery. By the recovery, there was an issue because my stomach was not sorted. And I was there for a week or two. And then from there, I was transferred to another hospital to have a plastic surgery, which was grafting done.
Yeah.
So in total, I spent 90 good days fighting for my life.
And how much of this 90 days do you actually remember? Were you conscious?
The first day, 24th, I was fine. I could talk to friends and loved ones, but I think the 25th, this is when they took me to the theater. This is the state that I came out for my family. So I was in this state for a long period. That's what my diary shows, that I was there for 55 days before I became very conscious.
So the first 55 days of your hospital admission, you were unconscious?
Yeah, after the operation.
After
I
the
was
operation.
battling for my life.
Right. I think that is where it gets better. So viewers, if you've just joined us, we are live on Omega Live TV, and this is your show, Let's Talk About Health. I'm Mrs. Winnie Kisi, and I've got with me in the studio Nanajwa Asante, and she is a lady who actually fell ill and went through days, months, weeks, several years of trying to survive. Nana, I've listened to your story, and I think it is mind-blowing, and it is such a lengthy story, and your recovery is still ongoing. Yeah. This condition that you actually suffered has been life-changing for you in so many respects, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's start and take it in stages. Obviously, you did mention to me that you get told that you had sepsis, and that was one area that was of big interest to me. So, you know, the beauty of following patients here in the UK is how much control they have about their condition in terms of like knowledge, everything to do with it. How much do you know about sepsis?
Well, sepsis has become part of me because it was one of the newest things that I saw finally on my discharge notes. So when I saw septic shock, sepsis, abscesses of the stomach, I decided to read more, and I got to know more about it. And sepsis simply means, in layman's term, when your body gets an infection, it could be any infection, and your body is trying to fight the infection. Fight the infection. It get to a point your body get inflammation, it get flared up, and then when there's no medication given or treatment, then your body starts attacking its own cells or organs. So the sepsis is the first phase, and I went to the extreme end,
which is the septic shock.
Yeah.
Which is the septic shock.
Yeah.
So following that, you've now become almost an advocate for Sepsis UK, isn't it? And so we want to take our time, because it's easy to tell a story, or, you know, we can just go through the story and just recap everything that happened. But what I need to come out of this is even people identifying with it and able to pick up that somebody has gone into sepsis. What were the signs and symptoms at the time, specifically to you? What did you experience?
What I experienced was prior to the time I saw the GP, I was getting chills, fever, nausea, vomiting, and then my temperature was on and off. And then sometimes you get breathlessness, and my belly, because that one was painful, the focus was on the pain,
tummy,
because
pain.
it was slightly related to labor, like you are feeling that pain. So those were the symptoms. And in order to be able to identify, especially one of the most significant one is your temperature. At that time, I didn't have any thermometer at home.
Okay.
So I didn't know.
Yeah, and what did they tell? What do you know now about what your temperature could be like?
If your temperature drop below 35 downwards, then it means something significantly is wrong with you.
Yeah.
Or when it's extreme higher than 38 upwards to 40 upwards, then it's also, so it can be low or high.
It can be low or high.
Yeah.
You see, I'm asking this because anyone listening to this, especially when you live in, say, Africa, will probably be pointing towards malaria, you know, and then reading about it, you can see that the causes of sepsis is very varied. It's basically an infection, but then it can be a viral infection, it can be COVID, it can be tuberculosis, it can be a localized skin infection. Generally, it's an infection which gets really, really bad. And you see, the thing COVID has done for us these days is everyone wants to read and everyone wants to understand why it takes so many lives. And that is where sepsis comes in, isn't it? So what else do you have to say? Any other symptoms that you had?
What I was told is after the operation, I had multiple organ failure. That's when I went into a coma, and I was battling for my heart, lungs, everything was failing, and also having my stomach open. It got to a time I've been told by my family that they wanted to use air ambulance to take me to even St. Thomas's for respiratory, because everything was failing basically. So when it gets to the worst stage, it's attack all your major organs in you, and that's what relates to COVID. So when they start attacking you, definitely you'll go. If you've got underlying conditions, then it will take your life.
So for a lot of people, they probably would pick up on this very early. In your own case, would you say that they were able to make the diagnosis quickly enough?
To be honest, I'm not sure even it was identified as quick as possible, because their prognosis were, the differential diagnosis was quite broad. But to narrow it, I think if I had different maybe blood tests or other things like blood pressure or temperature taken at a time, then we could have seen more. But unfortunately it was delayed. That's where I end up where
one thing I say to people is listen to your body. Listen to your body, because I remember having this chat behind the scenes, and you did say that people said all sorts, to try all sorts of remedies at home. Did you try any remedies at home for the abdominal pain?
The only remedy, the first point of action was to take paracetamol just to soothe me to sleep for the night. But after, I followed it through to the 24th to seek help, medical help. I didn't stop. I carried on.
Okay. Yeah. You've been very enthusiastic about working with Sepsis UK, isn't it? What have you learned so far? How has been your experience, and what have you learned with Sepsis UK?
I think the Sepsis UK have been very, very supportive for people who have suffered sepsis. And if you look at their statistic, every 5 minutes, someone is dying in the UK with sepsis.
And that's in the UK alone?
Yeah, and then 44,000 people die in the UK or get affected with sepsis. So it's quite broad, and basically it's affecting a lot of people than breast cancer, bowel cancer, and other forms of cancer. So it means it's something that we need to look into. Especially, I had a lady who passed away in my former church. She was so young, she had a baby and she had sepsis, and it was delayed. So she died at the age of 32, and it was in UK.
And
so sometimes there's signs. When she was complaining, she's got chills, she's got cold. Even the husband couldn't pick up, because even the person might think she was in chi, they would say, but in reality, she was not well.
Yeah, everyone has a baby, everyone has pain after having a baby, so you know, it can't
UK,
be easily ignored, isn't it?
So it's affecting most life. What I've learned about it is a lot of people don't have this message, but recently UK sepsis have made it more prominent on the buses, ambulances, in the workplaces, and sometimes on the milk. The back of it, you see the sign there. But still, even when I talk to people, they don't understand sepsis.
No.
It's only the people who have lost their relative, or one way or the other, they've got their relative who had it and has changed their life, that are able to relate and talk to you about it.
About
so
sepsis.
I think in our community, we need to raise awareness more.
Yeah.
That's my experience.
So we've got this little booklet here, isn't it? Leaflet here, which says, just ask, could it be sepsis? What sort of information is in there regarding what people need to know? It is really taking lives, and what makes it tricky to manage medically is the fact that it could be anything. It mimics anything. It's from the usual malaria, fever, flu, and then it could also be sepsis. So I took keen interest reading, and it says, how will I know if someone has sepsis? And I think this will be beneficial both for the ordinary man who is not medical, and even for the medical personnel who look after everyone. It says slurred speech or confusion, extreme shivering or muscle pain, passing no urine, severe breathlessness, and then just the feeling of something being horribly wrong, skin being mottled. But I will say that these, by the time you get to that stage, like you did, it is probably getting to the very, very severe stage of sepsis. Yeah, so even in the hospital, it's being alarmed, it's being drummed into the carrier that, look, this is a medical emergency. And that is what we want to come out, that sepsis is a medical emergency, like you would have a heart attack and you have to race against time. And that is the same kind of scenario when it comes to sepsis. So now you are in hospital. I really want to know what happened in the intensive care unit, because I mean, I am into acute care as well, so I am always keen. What was your experience like?
Well, I felt when I was in a different world. When I came out, apparently a voice, the first time I became more alert, a voice told me my faith have saved me. So when I woke up, that was the message I wanted to tell my family, but I couldn't even make a speech. So I was staring at them, and I went this roller coaster journey that I saw also bright lights. Yeah. And in the medical term, we think it's delirium, but in my case, most of them are also happening in reality, so I don't know whether...
Yeah. You see, you've sent me loads of pictures of your admission in the intensive care unit, and if the producer can focus on that, because, whilst you were on the hospital bed, and I want to see how much you knew of that, all the things that you have going on, all the gadgets, all the treatments. How much of it do you remember?
Well, all I saw was when I woke up, I saw all this beepy, and then a nurse shouted and said, "It looks like she's confused. You've been on this bed for good 55 days. You are in ICU." So I think I was in a confused state.
Wow.
I didn't know what has gone on that long period. Yeah.
You didn't know.
Yeah.
You have a lot of gadgets around you. What do they think they are, and what do you think it was doing for you? All these gadgets.
I had the artificial life support. I had the dialysis machine that was doing the kidney failure. I had so many blood pressure machine, the respiratory catheters, a whole lot of, and the scan. They were doing scans. They said I've got so many scans, uncountable. And they relate to the operation that I had multiple operations, which I don't know how many of them. But to my knowledge,
you have no clue how many.
I was taken to from my family and friends who were recording for me in the diary. They said every day in the night at 8 o'clock or 8:30 when they are leaving, then they are taking me to theater. That's how I know.
And did they say exactly what they were doing for you in theater?
The stomach, what happened is the appendectomy was converted to laparostomy. Laparotomy. So the laparotomy
big
was open for investigation all the time. So they were taking me to deal with the abscesses of the stomach. Every day, new thing happened. So it was quite a challenging one. And as a result, they couldn't close me back because there was a lot to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we start from head to toe, and we are still in the intensive care unit, obviously most of it, you were out of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And was it an induced coma?
From what I know, I went into septic shock. And then from there, I think they induced it as well. And it made things even worse.
Yeah.
So,
and on waking up, what do you remember immediately on waking up about all the gadgets that you had at the time? What did you have? Did you have like a tracheostomy?
Yeah.
You had the tracheostomy.
I had the voice, everything. And they call something TPN. I had the life support, and then they were getting some from other parts of the country to bring to the hospital. So I had uncountable machines, which I don't know of, but they were just monitoring to save life, basically.
To save your life. I mean, the good thing about what you are doing and the eagerness to share your story is the fact that you don't even want people to get into that stage.
No.
You want it to be picked up early, and that is why you are doing this advocacy role, right? So you had a tracheostomy in. What do you know about that? What was it doing for you?
For my breathing.
For your breathing? Yeah. Okay, and then you mentioned about the TPN. What did it do for you?
I don't know much about that one.
Right. I mean, that is parenteral nutrition. So what would be happening is you cannot normally digest the food like everyone else would normally be able to digest food. So then they have to find a way of feeding you because the cells will need nourishment. So they would have been giving you, I'm sure you had a lot of wires in your neck, and they would be giving you specialized food. But through the vein. Yeah, and that is the TPN. So today you've learned even more of what you had, and you had catheters in to manage your. Yeah. Did you have any other infection during that time? Was it infection after infection, or you went through that phase and that was it? I
believe most of the stories are hearsay, and I've been yearning to ask for more, but I don't get the answers. So I just have to stick with what I know.
Yeah.
A lot was going on, and there was no hope that I would live. Even to the medics, the surgeons, that's why the miracle girl came in. Because
when I sailed through,
all the surgeons, they came to the recovery ward. When I made it to the ward, and they said,
Wow.
"Indeed, you are a miracle at Medway," because
Miracle Girl 2017.
yeah. So I added
Hashtag.
I added
Well
it to it.
You added it to it. Amazing.
Yeah, I've got some of the diary that is evidence of what people were writing in their absence. That period, I couldn't respond to them, so this is what guides me. And I think it was given in May, so most of it were from May. And the one that touched me most is when, my son was in school and he came and said, "Mom, today is my birthday. I love you and you are my number one." Because it was his 13th birthday.
Yeah.
And mommy was not around. We had so much plans for his 13th birthday. So anytime I pick this diary, it's a reminder of the things that I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
What month is his birthday?
22nd of May.
Right. So it's about a month after this happened.
Yeah.
A month. So it was a long way before you
Yeah.
even recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel now?
I feel happy. I think when my eyes opened, he was the first person I was asking everybody. I couldn't talk, but I was making a sound. They would bring the ABC, then I point at them, and they said he was fine. And then they told me he's been there multiple times that I didn't know. So that made me happy. Now I'm happy that at least, in spite of all the challenge, he can see me, and we are walking through the journey together. And I believe he's happy that mom is alive.
Yeah. I can imagine that. You've had to literally learn to do everything
Completely
from scratch.
Yeah.
So after how many days when you woke up from the 55 days in coma, did you get back any kind of activity, like normal activity?
The physios were coming to the bed. I think even in my sleep, they were doing things with me, rubbing my, doing things. So when I became fully alert, they were trying to make me strong little by little. But in my case, I was having a spiritual aspect of things as well. So I had a dream myself. They were hoisting me to take me to bath and bring in.
This is the dream.
No, as in the hospital.
In the hospital.
The experience was I couldn't do anything. So they had to hoist me. They have to do everything in bed, and I had to literally even pull through catheters, and it was a horrible feeling. So they were trying hard to bring me, and it was hard. Even to write, I couldn't scribble a word or anything. And to talk, they have to put their voice. And the physio procedure, because I had the vac machine as well, it was quite a big one.
Of your open
it was a big
tummy.
one, so they had to use the wheelchair to take me. But I remember I had this dream that I was walking again, or I was using the Zimmer frame. So they came, I requested that I want to try, and I wasn't doing much with it. So they push hard, in the hospital. So when I was even going home, still I couldn't walk or stand, do things properly.
Really?
But, they needed a bed, so I had to. And my family have to help carry me upstairs too.
So from waking up from the coma, how many days did it take before you go home?
From the 65th day to 72 day, I was in HDU, high dependency unit, and so everything was done for me. And then from there, I was taken to the recovery, and I think that's where I spent about 2 weeks. So things became a bit intense, but still it was hard. I couldn't do nothing for myself. And then the physio helped, because I asked that I need a Zimmer frame. So one day my family came and they were there, and I used this, there's this energy that comes into you one
adrenaline
time.
just pumps in.
Yeah, so I just push myself with it, and we all shouted, "Yay, she's doing it!" And from there, bit by bit, I started using the Zima little by little.
Were you eating and drinking normally at this stage?
I was having more of yogurts, and maybe mashed potato. Yeah, most of the time, and soup. That's what I'll request my family to bring.
So you could eat and drink almost.
Yeah, in the normal world, I was just craving for things that would choke me, but they wouldn't bring it, but they would bring me the sensible ones like water, yogurts, and soup mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could do all that.
Yeah.
Right.
The swallowing was difficult, but I was eager to go home. Once my eyes was open, all I wanted was to go home.
Did you recognize everyone straight away on waking up?
Everything seems blurry. When I woke up, basically I was staring at everybody. So this one will say it's me, it's that, and then they'll be showing music and praying. And that's one of the significant things they were doing. So I could not say I couldn't see them. I could stare at them, but things were more blurry. Yeah, it felt like people were in a glass. You know that mirage? Yeah, that's how.
So it took time for everything to come back to life again.
Yeah.
Right. But you could recognize them.
Yeah, I could recognize my brother, and I became so attached to everybody. Like when I woke up fully, if you are going, I don't want to let you go. I want people to be around.
You want people to be around. Wonderful. Right, we've got a few people who seem to know about what happened to you. So let's acknowledge them and see if you recognize any people. So I have Betty Asante. That says very educative, thank you. Do you know her?
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law. They did very, very big job, great job. They were traveling from London with the whole family for 90 good days. My family, my big brothers.
Are you okay? Yeah.
The kids were under stress. They will climb my bed and they want auntie back. And they were always praying that I come back to life.
Yeah. You've been amazing. I understand how you are pouring out your emotion because your story is amazing. You see, but the beauty of this is that through this, a lot of people are going to be encouraged because you have an incredible resolve and they will be watching you now and they will be so, so proud of you. Let's find some tissue for you. Yeah, they will be so, so proud of you. Are you happy to carry on? Yeah. You've done amazing because not everyone goes through this and leaves to tell the story. Yeah. How long has it been that you've been even emotional just trying to talk about it? Because I know you've featured on other platforms, isn't it? You've been doing this, talking to different groups. Yeah. How long has it been? Obviously, this is a different platform, and so recapping everything, I understand how you feel now. Do you feel okay to carry on?
I feel okay.
Yeah. Is it like just overwhelming sense of joy? Just what you've achieved and how you've overcome this. Yeah. Unbelievable. So yeah, if you want to just tell them again how much you feel about this, do, because they would love to see that.
Yeah. My family, I just want to say a big thank you, especially my big brother, in a way, helped to save my life in the hospital because he works in the ICU.
He works there?
He works in ICU in different hospitals. So when he came, it got to a point he saw things were not as it should. And I have to acknowledge him and the whole entire siblings I've got. I'm their last born.
Wow.
So imagine them traveling. They have to stop their work, especially my big brother, my sister, with her twins, 2 sets of twins, and the husband. I'll mention their names at the end. And my friends, Francisca, and Nana Kofi, Sandra, Emmanuel, all my team, they were there 24/7. None of them left me. And when they come, all the pharmacists, they were checking my medication, how things are going. And it's incredible to have such a family and support around you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, what would we do without family? Viewers, if you've just joined us, we are live on Omega Live TV, and the program is Let's Talk About Health. And tonight I have Nanadwa Asante with me, and she's an incredible young lady who went through illness, had an infection, abdominal infection, appendicitis, eventually had an appendectomy, ended up having a laparotomy, and then went into septic shock and had to be in coma for 55 days. Ends up being called the Miracle Girl, and her story is astonishing. You know, Nana, we said we are going to do this show in 2 sessions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the follow-up after and all the care that you've had after is mind-blowing, isn't it? You've had so much done, but we are still in the hospital. I mean, I keep swaying a bit because I know it is very intense and very challenging to go through that. So are you sure we can carry on? Yeah, you're doing great, by the way. You are doing amazing. And this is why I started this, so people will be encouraged, because obviously you watched one of the patients who came on here. Who did you actually watch?
The lupus.
The lupus. So Sister Amaful said, I know you will be tuning in. She watched your show and was inspired to come here and tell her story. And I remember you sent me a messenger, isn't it? You contacted me through messenger to say, you know what, I want to come on here. So that is the amazing thing you guys are doing, all the health professionals who are featuring on Let's Talk About Health through Omega Live TV. This is how good a job you are doing. And I actually forgot to say, but this is brought to you by kind sponsorship of World Remit. World Remit, the safest way to send money to your friends and family back home. I think going back to the word Nanadwa is what it really gets to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going back to that stage. So shall we just focus just a little bit on
the word,
on working for Sepsis UK? You know, like what are you doing with them?
Well, I do raise awareness in the local community. I think I've done it once in either 2018 or 2019. The process is quite long because you have to get authorization from your local council. They have to allocate somewhere for you to put your material so that in the town center you can share the knowledge to people. So I've done it once, and when I plan to do again is when COVID came in. So for the past 1 year, I haven't done anything with it. But still, in the house, everywhere I go, I do talk about sepsis because I saw that was the significant thing. Even my family didn't know much about it. That not much into detail that it was on my discharge note. So I look into it, and I've been always reading a lot of research what it can do to person in the long term. The long term effects are even confusing medical personnel because sometimes they think it's in your head, but it's happening. For example, as I told you, coming here today, before I came, if you ask my PA, he would tell Honorable Mr. Fred, I was yo-yo. And then luckily I've been able to make it. So it changes your life. It
really changes your life,
if it goes to that extreme end, it changes your life. I know the reason why I'm emotional is, although I'm alive, I believe some of my family, they are happy I'm alive, my friends are happy, but still they are grieving. You know, it's like living dead kind of situation. You are there, but nobody knows tomorrow. You are just there.
Yeah, I think sometimes we underestimate the resolve of people around us. And trust me, if they see you like this, pulling through and fighting it every day, it gives them so much strength to carry on. Yeah. Can the producer just project onto the screen so we look at some of the impact it has on you after you've had sepsis and been discharged from the hospital? Because it's the journey begins at that stage, isn't it? It's not over. Obviously, you are out of the dark stage, but it's just all that you experience after that. And again, that is you on the hospital bed. But you related it, and I mean, generally, it's been related to post-traumatic stress
disorders.
Yeah.
This is from. These images are online, and I saw it from one of the sepsis group on Facebook, Surviving Sepsis Society, and this is what someone put as her feeling. So I have to acknowledge it. Like, she posted that people should see, like, this is what does to you when you get sepsis. And
do you want to talk through them?
Yeah, the high risk of reinfection is there because, like, for me in general, as you rightly said, a patient have to know themselves. Yeah. So since I came home, every alarming bell, I just tackle it quicker. So if I see I wee a lot and I have a lot going on, but the wee, if I see a different pattern, straight away I know it's either UTI or my bladder is working excessively.
So practically, what do you want to see? Comparing the normal to the abnormal, what would you consider as a normal pattern for you?
For me,
and then what would you be alarmed about?
For example, if I'm peeing too much at night, I've always have a diary. In normal days that I'm fine, it's between 6 to 8 at night. When it increases to 20 times at night or 25 times sometimes, or sometimes it's very, very hot and I start feeling on chills and a bit funny, like I'm unwell, then I start calling for help because I know at that time I ask myself, could it be sepsis again? Because sepsis can come back. A lot of the people that have been affected on different platforms says they've had it twice, 5 times, so it can come back. And then one of the things you can see is if you've got a high risk for stroke, organ damage like the kidney, the lungs, especially when you had the tracheostomy, your breathing. You can see when I'm talking, I have to project because I have to take more energy. All those things, and dental complication. I always had nice teeth, but its color is changed, and it's one of the pain. The pain is something I cannot talk about. It's very, very, very bad, like your back, and in my case, because it's surrounded in the middle part, sometimes my belly feel like a cement, cement that has been mixed with water and is dried up. It feels so heavy, and your back is hurting, your stomach, when you cough, when you laugh, everything is uncomfortable. So the pain is horrible. And some people, it becomes a mental torture. You are a human being, the scale of it. So every little thing you feel like, am I going to hospital again? What is going to happen to me? You become on the edge. So
you are always on edge. Right. And then it says about transplant and amputation.
Yeah, a lot of people have lost their limbs. And the complexity is if you have any gangrene or something going on and is dead, they have to save your life. So they have to. In my case, where it is hidden. I think mine is the abdominal part. That's why my disability is a big one, and that's what holds you up and down. So it's quite complex. But people lose their limbs and then everything.
Did you have any underlying conditions prior to that at all?
Not necessarily. I was just a normal person that maybe once in a while you complain of normal pain a cold, flu, you go to GP, or you are under little stress. It's normal that normal person. There was no underlying issue.
And
Never.
were you on any medication?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Only thing maybe I'll have is multivitamin if I feel like I'm running down, or vitamin C for normal OTC.
Normal.
Yeah.
In the next episode with you, which we'll plan and arrange, so we see all the different kind of adaptive strategies that you are adopting for day-to-day living. I think we will look at your medication, and from having nothing, I know you are on a lot of medication now. You were quite prepared to share very intimate details with me, some of which I thought I would rather keep
private.
But I think it's amazing to see what you are doing. I think it's wonderful. So don't underestimate what you're doing, because I think it's great. And I just hope to God that this gives the platform to spring onto greater things in terms of educating people in the area of sepsis.
Yeah.
So we have this. What is that? What's going on there?
Yeah, brain fog. Sometimes you forget things that you easily used to remember. And then even spelling of words, you can exchange something. For example, I call, is it Andres toilet roll.
Oh, okay.
I'll go to the shopping center and I'll be pointing to Mr. Fred. I want Andrew, and he will be like, what is going on here? And I'll be pointing, and you go like, my God, it's Andres, and those kind of things. So when I did the speech therapy, that helped a little bit too.
A little bit.
Yeah, it has helped. The brain fog comes, and then suddenly you come back to normal. But what I've seen is I've become more slow, like here, easily being distracted. If I'm doing something now which is more detailed to read, write, I don't want anybody around me. I need full concentration, and I'm very slow to detail, so it takes me longer. If something would take, like, let's say a month, I would do it double or triple, so that I'm able to digest it properly.
Yeah.
It has really slowed.
It has really helped. And there is another diagram which looks at the psychological impact, isn't it? There is one more.
Yeah.
Physical
You can't
symptoms
sleep.
of.
I lost all my hair. I can't sleep at night. Joint and muscle pain is always there. Breathlessness, I'm on inhalers. That is helping a little. Poor mobility, muscle weakness. Of late, if even I lie down in the sofa and my knee bent, if I want to straighten it, it's so painful that I start screaming. So Mr. Fred have to help me to ease it, straighten it, but I'll be screaming my head off because so painful.
Does it go into spasm?
Spasm, cramps, yeah. So all these things happen to different people at different time. And the feeling cold, excessive cold, every night, my cold feet, cold hands, and I feel like I'm freezing. The house will be on heater, and I keep telling you, why have you switched off my heater? But it's the body, the temperature is its own self. And the reduced kidney function, mine went back. To God be the glory. Now it's in the 70s, so it's okay. And poor appetite, sometimes I don't feel like eating. And then taste changes, yes, you get taste changes. And then the skin flaking, my nails break easily. So these are some of the symptoms that is left with you.
I must say, you're looking amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
You're looking totally smashing. Yeah, so you must be doing something right. And
it's the food.
It's the food.
Yeah, I have to feed on organic food. We go
Okay.
to a special shop in Kent, and we get, because my stomach, initially the dietitians didn't really tell me what to do. I was home, so we have to find a new way of feeding me, and I have to read a lot about me and my new me and the stomach, what it entails. And then we started the yogurts, the Yakult, and things like that. So we go to the shop to get drinks, which is purely cold press, organic, like cold press in the brewery. And then we get my meat, my fish from the fishmongers, which is locally made, like from the sea. And everything is fresh. I eat everything fresh, but in small portions. Yeah, if I eat heavy, the stomach just get inflamed and I feel uncomfortable. So yeah.
In the next session, we'll take time to see, all the different adaptations, like I said. But obviously, you got a bit emotional, and looking at the messages that was coming, I thought, let me divert.
Let's do. I'm happy.
So, if you are ready, I will just let you know a few more of these messages that are here, mainly from your family, actually. Yeah, and it says, Susie Uk. You know Susie Uk is your sister?
Yeah, the
says,
one I'm listed.
A lot happened.
Yeah.
The surgeons and doctors at Medway Hospital called her a miracle girl, which we have already said. And Duke Badu says, I saw it unfolding and it was not pleasant, but fought a good fight, obviously, to stay alive. And your sister is again highlighting that at one stage, they were told to prepare for the worst. Yeah. And she's saying she loves your courage, like I am constantly saying, that it is a very courageous thing to come and to want to share this. So Atabedu Senior is watching, Albert Kukwabru is watching, and she says you are a very strong woman.
Thank you.
Vic Brown, Angela, Nana Otu, they are all thanking God for your life. You've been amazing. So Susie Uk is again saying thanks to all her colleagues at Stana for their support and understanding during this time, because obviously the family goes through a lot as well, and you need your colleagues to be understanding of it. So your survival story, I think Duke Bedu is saying pharmacists and colleagues were all
around me,
around you.
All the doctors.
What did you do for a job before all this happened?
I was locoming in the pharmacy environment, but mainly I'm a backup. Like if there's no staff, I go to chip in here and there. So most of my job were different from the frontliners. You
were covering at short notice and all that. Right. So Lydia Kwasi is also watching. And Adwa, I think we are just saying share so the message goes out there. Vienyo Chega is saying, Nana, I'm shedding tears just thinking about the faithfulness of our living God. I understand your gratefulness to your older siblings and family. It's a blessing. And that is what she's saying to you. And Bright Jampo says, an amazing story. Such powerful patient account. And she is so beautiful too.
Thank you.
And keep the faith going and be strong. Keep the faith going. Marian Otu is watching. Please share, subscribe to Omega. All this is coming to you by kind courtesy of World Remit through Omega Live TV, and it's as usual Omega to the world. Nana, so I think today we've done an hour.
Wow.
And yes, I am quite happy that you've been able to hold your own to do this session, but I know that there is more to come. There is more to come, because this has been a life-changing experience. And is there anything, because we are going to do another session, so anything you want to say to finish off this particular one?
I would like to take this platform to say a big thank you to you for allowing me to come and share this story. Super story. It's been a journey for the whole family and friends and loved ones. And I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you, Ayiko, to the Asante family. Yawa Asante, Kwabinamenu Asante, Susie Asante, Gifty Asante, Efia Manado, Emmanuel Echampon, and all my other siblings in Ghana. I say thank you. And my friends and colleagues, Francisca Abroka Frimpon, She played a major role. She will stay next to my bed. And Nana Kofi Esuman, Emmanuel Ado, Sandra Sowa, and James Sowa, they were a backbone to the family. They never left us nor forsake us. And I want to say a big thank you to KICC family, because they were there for me. Dr. Mel, Sister Miriam, and my honorable Mr. Chi for looking after me, because without him I can't travel.
Don't worry, he's going to be on the second session. Yeah.
So he takes me to every appointment, every family situation, everything. Son drop to school and back. It's a big job he's taking. But I say God bless you all for your support and your continuous prayer and your day-to-day support that you give to me. I'm grateful to all of you. If I didn't mention your name, it's not that I don't appreciate. I do appreciate everybody. When I look in the diary, there's uncountable names. And I say, Aiko, thank you to everyone. And I love you all.
I'm sure they love you right back, Nanajwa. Yeah, and the beauty of this is I am making so many friends, and what an amazing friend. You know, every morning I wake up to all these messages you sent to me. Good morning, have a beautiful day. And I think that's the whole essence of life, you know. And what can we do without family? What can we really do without the support of our family? I would say to everyone watching us today, share, keep sharing. The thing with the health program is you don't even need to watch it live. You can always catch up, get the message out there to your family and friends. I will keep doing this for as long as I possibly can. And the show seems to be getting to places now. So if you missed this one, just be on the lookout, because it will be showing on Sky Channel 182. Watch Nanajwa again give her account on the telly. And I'm sure very soon we will be even getting bigger and better. And I would also say a big thank you to the Omega crew, Omega to the world, to the producer, and to everyone with Omega. And we are going to have another session in due course, where we will look at Nanajwa's daily activities of daily living and how she copes through life, all the activities that she's gone through from her discharge. I think tonight we got a little bit emotional somewhere at the hospital, but we will have to revisit it. Look at the other latter stages of your admission through discharge. And it's been 4 years now, isn't it? Yeah, so there is a whole lot of content in that as well. And again, so many people who have been very poorly in COVID and are recovering will have the same kind of similar story, because once you've had very severe illness, the recovery is pretty much the same kind of pathway. So Nanajwa, I can't thank you enough for coming. I know you are a friend for life, and look, I will always support every project that you will be doing, because again, you will be saving lives. The next time we come here in 2 weeks time, I think for the first time we've been able to do the program in an hour, which is fantastic, but with so much content. Please go back and watch. I have the whole eye hospital somewhere in London. They are coming here, taking turns to look at the different conditions that can possibly go around when it comes to caring for your eyes. I can't wait for that. Because I have no clue whatsoever when it comes to eye care. So the next guest on my show in 2 weeks time is from a reputable hospital here in London, and he will be looking at diabetes and the eye, or looking after yourself when it comes to, you know, diabetes and the eye. I cannot wait because I have no clue. You've done that.
I've done that.
So once again, thank you so much, Nanajwa, for coming. And we will do this again. Thank you, Omega crew. Till we meet again, it's bye-bye for now.
At World Remit, we understand what the journey is about, how it can sometimes take a little distance to bring us a little closer together. With ways to save more when you send more, World Remit is here for you, so you can be